The only person I am proud to say, or very ashamed to say, whichever way you put it, that got infected through me was my baby, who died in 1995. Think about this. 160 babies are born HIV positive every day. And the government is saying no to AZT.
Since the beginning of 1999, the Western Cape has been running a successful mother-to-child prevention program in Khayelitsha. HIV-positive women are given a short course of antiretroviral AZT drug, reducing the transmission of the virus to the baby by about 50%. In Khayelitsha, where 1 in 5 women tests positive, this means that about 250 babies' lives have been saved since the introduction of the program. Doctors working in Khayelitsha have argued for the expansion of the program on a national scale, but the National Department of Health is still holding back.
To give nevirapine, not only is it the right thing to do, is that you save lots and lots of money. So the government's decision to withhold this life-saving intervention for children makes no coherent, rational sense at all.
We've had 5 deaths in the last week, and it's an extremely painful death for the children. Although we offer pain control, but they become very thin, so it's painful if you touch them. They have oral thrush and chronic diarrhea, so they get dehydrated. And it's normally quite a long, drawn-out process.
TAC will commence legal proceedings to compel the South African government to act on the findings presented to it more than 3 weeks ago and revealed publicly at this conference on the efficacy of nevirapine and AZT in the reduction of mother-to-child transmission.
What we learned in Durban is that nevirapine works, definitely, works and is safe. Same trial confirmed what Uganda told us.
As you know, nevirapine costs 20 rands. It's 2 tablets that I will give to you, which you take as you go into labor. But then one also got to consider the formula milk that you have to use afterwards, which can cost up to 600 rands.
What the Treatment Action Campaign has been trying to do is we're trying to campaign for affordable treatment. With regard to mother-to-child transmission, it means that we want the government to provide AZT or nevirapine to all pregnant women.
I want to ask her how she, from the Ministry of Health, is going to lead this partnership to implement a national program on mother-to-child transmission. Is she going to question science, or is she going to implement the program thing?
We are waiting for the scientists, the researchers, to come and give us a written report so that we can study it together. But also, WHO is saying to us, there are issues of resistance. So, don't rush. We are going to call yet another meeting so that we can fully understand what this all means.
3 out of 17 women showed that they developed a resistant virus. That didn't mean they passed the virus on to their child. It just meant that they had a resistant virus to nevirapine. On the other hand, there are very many women who will save themselves and their children a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a tremendous amount of emotional stress if they stop their baby from having HIV.
Even the efficacy studies on the saint are not enough to convince. So what is the bigger picture? The bigger picture is put into place the right program, the full package, don't go in bits and pieces.
For anybody in government to suggest that the resistance profile is a reason not to implement, we have a simple answer for them. If that's the case, if you really believe that, then implement short course AZT until such time that you are satisfied and the MCC is satisfied and registers nevirapine.
I heard on TV that it's not yet registered with the Medical Controls Council, so how do we use it?
Nevirapine in South Africa has been registered since 1997 for use in adults. Nevirapine has been registered in South Africa since January 2000 for use in children. In other countries earlier. The only thing that nevirapine at the moment isn't registered for is for use it as MTCT. However, as a doctor, I don't have a problem with it, because every day I prescribe medicines that we call off-shelf. For instance, people with HIV often get tingling in the feet, and we prescribe Tegretol, carbamazepine, which is an anti-epileptic medicine. It's not registered to use for the tingling of the feet, but we prescribe it anyway because we know it works.
We have met with the current Minister of Health, Mantu Chabalala Msimang, and at some point last year she gave us an indication that once the new studies about nevirapine is out, which is a much cheaper option, then she would reconsider introducing mother-to-child transmission. And the studies came out earlier this year saying that nevirapine does significantly reduce the risk of transmission. And we were under the impression that once the minister finds this out, they would immediately start implementing it, which hasn't happened. That is why the Treatment Action Campaign has decided to take the government to court. And we know that this is a very serious thing to do.
In any case, we don't believe that the only way to prevent mother-to-child transmission is by using antiretrovirals.
The first reason that the government's dragging its feet is because it's found itself in an ideological muddle over whether HIV causes AIDS, and that is completely unacceptable.
We do not have enough resources to buy drugs. We can't just be jumping on the bandwagon because we've heard that, somewhere nevirapine was being administered.
The second reason the government is dragging its feet is because of its economic policy. Its economic strategy is one in which they're spending more money on repaying the old apartheid debt than they're spending on healthcare reform. And that, most important of all, that the defense budget has increased by more than the rate of inflation, whereas the health budget has decreased per capita by the inflation rate and by the population growth rate. So we're in a situation where our government is spending more money on defense and spending more money on debt reduction than on the health care of its people in a situation where we have a tremendous healthcare crisis.